Welcome back for more Halloween, where we look at movies appropriate for the spooky season. This time, the subject is witches. They're running around, or flying around on their broomsticks. Anyway, they're here. Do these movies cast a spell over you, or just an evil hex? Let's find out. First off, let's start with this one. Haxan, a Swedish film from 1922. Hawks on. Hawks off. Hawks on. Hawks off. Now you know karate. Haxan purports to be a documentary, and it kinda is, but it kinda isn't. It's sort of a pseudo-documentary, not pseudo-science like about Bigfoot or Nessie or whatever. No, this one recounts the history of witches in medieval Europe through reenactments overlaid with the trappings of a documentary. It explores the superstitions and what witches were supposed to get up to, and has a few tame instances of nudity. Not that you see very much. I want to give them credit for taking these old wood blocks from medieval times and recreating them with live actors. It shows they did a bit of research and wanted some authenticity. They also shot all of the movie at night to help the actors feel in the spooky mood, I guess. Jesus! This is Benjamin Christensen, the creator of the film. You see him in a preamble to the movie. He also plays one of the devils in the picture, so he covered all the bases. Haxan took 3 years to make and was one of the most expensive Swedish films up to that point. There were plans for 2 sequels, but that never happened. Haxan was cut down and reissued in 1968 with a jazz score and narration by William S. Burroughs. The original is okay, but it does feel a bit long. It was definitely an achievement, though. The Criterion Blu-ray is the one to get, as it has both the original and the 1968 recut version. Staying in Scandinavia, we have Return of the Witch, or just The Witch, from 1952. This one hails from Finland, I guess, and also sports some naked nudity, only a little more of it. In this one, an archaeologist is digging around, and he finds a body in what used to be part of a swamp. It has a wooden stake driven through it, which he removes. Then later, they discover a naked lady in the grave. She can't remember who she is, and she acts all batty. Then she starts influencing all the characters and witching it up with witchcraft. If you ask me, her in the nude would be bewitching enough for old Barkey dog, let me tell you. The local peasants, being superstitious, aren't having it, and are always trying to chase the chick and bring her down. Well, the archaeologist, his wife, and artist, the lord of the manor, and his son, try to figure out what to do as the girl exerts more and more influence over everyone. I gotta say, I enjoyed this one, and not just for the obvious reasons. Well, those too. But you know what I mean. There's not really too much of that, and it's all tastefully done. It really is. This one is more about the paranoia created by superstition and fear of witches, and it has a somewhat tongue-in-cheek vibe going on. The Witch was remade, very badly, in 1961 under the title The Naked Witch, which I've reviewed a couple of Halloweens ago. This one from 1952 is way better. And from the 1960s, we have this one. Black Sunday, a 1960 Italian-French co-production directed by Mario Bava. Now, I know this guy has his fans, and rightfully so, and Black Sunday's a classic, but this movie is a bit all over the place. Supposedly, it's about a witch who's put to death, but not before cursing the family of the prince behind it. But It seems Mario lost the plot somewhere because these witches turn out to be vampires. This is really a vampire movie, but the vampires are witches. I mean, go figure. Barbara Steele stars in a dual role as the evil witch who gets reanimated, as well as the present-day young sexy chick daughter of the prince's descendant. See, it was ordained that the living chick would look exactly like the witch, who's now a dead chick, so the witch could enter her body and take over. Well, I don't blame her, but I think I could think of a better way to do it. Anyway, Barbara Steele was in a lot of these kind of movies. Castle of Blood, The Long Hair of Death, Nightmare Castle, and so on. I really like the photography here. It's stylish and kind of interesting to watch, but it's more about vampires than witches. Well, speaking of vampires, let's hop ahead to our old friend, the 1980s, and Love at Stake, a comedy from 1987. Now, from the title, you probably thought the same thing I did, that it was a vampire movie. But no, this one is a send-up of the Salem witch trials. Here, this comely young lass is falsely accused of being a witch. The mayor and the local magistrate are behind the hysteria, so they can get rid of certain residents and take over their properties, so they can start a big development and cash in. Our heroine owns a little bakery shop that's in the way. The whole town is in an uproar, since on top of everything else, a real witch is causing a bunch of trouble. Fortunately, our heroine has a hero to try and get her out of this fix. The cast here is a treat. We have Dave Thomas as the mayor. Bud Cort plays a preacher. He was in MASH, Harold and Maude, just lots of stuff. Stuart Pankin is the judge, and Audrey Newman is the preacher's mother. Both were in the news parody, not necessarily the news. Neenan appeared in Somewhere in Time, Sudden Impact, and lots of television. Pankin has been in tons of things. Fatal Attraction, Arachnophobia, Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, just oodles of things. He's made a ton of one-off appearances on TV and done a lot of voice work for cartoons. We last saw him in my review of Hangar 18. Barbara Carrera plays the smoking hot witch, and you'll spot Anne Ramsey from The Goonies as an old witch. David Graff from the Police Academy series, he's here. He died way too young. He was always up for talking with fans about Police Academy, too. Yeah, he's sorely missed. We also have Georgia Brown. That's right, Worf's mom from Star Trek The Next Generation. We last saw her in my review of The 7% Solution. Finally, our hero is played by Sean Cassidy's brother, Patrick Cassidy, and our heroine is played by Kelly Preston, who we last saw in my review of Sky High. Well, I have to say, overall, I enjoyed this one. Love at Stake has a great cast, and it was funny. There are sight gags and other things going on that are a hoot. Okay, sure, it felt a little like they were trying to be the Zucker brothers and not quite managing it. Some of the humor is a little try-hard, but overall, it was a fun watch. And sticking with the 1980s, how about Teen Witch from 1989? Here, an awkward high school girl, Louise, is granted magic powers on her 16th birthday, and being a teenager, she uses it for stuff like becoming popular, getting a fashion makeover, and winning the handsomest boy in school. She gets help from a fellow witch to do all of this, and eventually has to make a choice between being a witch and just being normal. This is the most 80s movie I've seen in a while, and I was digging that vibe. The music, the fashions, the hair, all of it. Better time to be sure. Well, in our cast, we have Dick Sargent, the second Darren from Bewitched, as Louise's dad. Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist and Picket Fences is here as Madame Serena. Mandy Ingber plays Louise's best friend. She was in Mr. Mom and played Carla's daughter on Cheers and the disastrous spin-off, The Tortellis. She gave up acting eventually and became a yoga instructor. She's quite good in this as the hapless best friend, even does a rap number with some of the dorky classmates in school. Robin Lively plays our heroine, Louise. We also have Dan Gauthier as the object of Louise's affections. He was on Tour of Duty, I remember him from that. But perhaps he's arguably best known for his role in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Lower Decks. No, not that craptastic Kurtzman cartoon. I'm talking about real Star Trek. Now, while Lively was a teenager in this, Gauthier obviously wasn't. He was 25, and they have a makeout scene too. And these chicks here in the school, man, there's no way they're high school girls. They're all obviously over 20. Not that I'm complaining about that. Lisa Fuller plays the snooty, hottest girl in school type in this, playing the girlfriend of the handsome guy. She and Gauthier got married in real life. They're still together, too. Well, I guess there was some real magic in this movie, after all. Teen Witch was a fun little teen comedy from the Dayglow era, so if you haven't seen it, by all means give it a go. It was kind of fun. Oh, okay, let's look at one more. How's about Dream Witch from 1999? I can't believe I'm doing this one. Well, in Dream Witch, these four chicks get together for a birthday party sleepover to relive old times. Now, 3 of these women are well-versed in the art of hot makeouts and sexy times. But this one frumpy girl isn't. She has not yet felt the touch of man. And the other 3 kind of make fun of her for it. So she gets mad and calls on the powers of darkness to help her out, as you do. Those powers show up in the form of this Dream Witch, who proceeds to show this girl just what she's been missing. Then she proceeds to have sexy times with the other 3 chicks, too. This is kind of like The Mummy's Kiss, which we saw a few Halloweens ago. Basically, a lot of naked nudity and sexy times, almost exclusively limited to lesbotic action. But only in a hard R sort of way. It skirts that line between R and X, and you kind of wonder, why bother? But The Mummy's Kiss was at least kind of interesting, not so much with Dream Witch. Here, only one of the chicks looks like she hasn't had any work done. The others all have obvious artificial enhancements made to their chestly protuberances. The acting is terrible. The photography is terrible. And the sound quality is abominable. But none of that is why you'd be watching this movie, now is it? This one is really skippable, though. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. Sadly, there's very little to recommend with Dream Witch. The movie is badly made, and there's too much plastic on these chicks, and it doesn't help their acting any. It's all too fake. You can see more Halloween movie reviews here, and there's more on the way as Halloween continues.